Lesson 46. How do you stay in control in a crisis? This is such an important lesson because as our culture becomes more triggered, as voices become louder, as everyone gets solidified in their opinions, it will be important that Christians have more control over their person, presence, and speech. And you see that in Jesus, modeled perfectly as he stands trial before the high priest of Israel. No one would have predicted that Jesus was actually the one in total control of the trial, but he was. The scene opens with Jesus in the palace of the high priest. Everyone is out of control, even Peter, who's out in the courtyard, trying to take control. My guess is he's trying to figure out a way how he can be in control and get Jesus released. Maybe an escape, maybe a daring plot. He wants to be in control, but he's out of control. Caiaphas, he wants to be in control, but he's out of control. He has all the rules in his favor. He has the courtroom. He has the law. But he doesn't even follow the law. There are, if you count them carefully, 10 illegalities of this trial, including Caiaphas pronouncing a sentence before the Sanhedrin had an opportunity to vote, not allowing Jesus to call witnesses, having witnesses that were deliberately false witnesses testify, and they were inconsistent. I mean, the illegalities are mounting. But watch how it opens. Now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. Even the false witnesses brought in to cheat the system, they had this vague memory of Jesus saying, "I will destroy the temple," but he didn't say that. He said, "If you destroy the temple, I will raise it up again in 3 days." Even though they have a false witness, the witnesses cannot get their stories straight. They are out of control when Jesus on trial is in total control. So it frustrates the high priest, so he finally has to intervene. Again, illegally, he begins to state the charge against Jesus and asks Jesus to incriminate himself. He asks, "Have you no answer to make? What is this that these men testify against you?" But he remained silent and made no answer. Jesus refused to speak, which is actually really good legal advice. My father worked in the legal system for years, and he told me, if you're ever on trial, which I still don't know why he thought I might be, but anyway, he said, if you go to court, your answer is yes, no, and I don't remember. Give no details, because it's the details that allow lawyers to catch you in the details. Jesus is shrewd. But then Caiaphas asked a straightforward question that Jesus answered. Why would he answer a question that incriminated himself? Well, listen to how it plays out. Again, the high priest asked him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" And Jesus said, "I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven." Wow. That is almost a direct quote from Daniel chapter 7, verse 13, 14, where there's this image of a Son of Man, which is a human entity. That's also what Jesus called himself, Son of Man, Son of Man, Son of Man. And nobody else called him that but Jesus. So it was his self-designation, Son of Man, referring back to the only place in the Old Testament where Son of Man was actually a divine figure, Daniel 7, 13, 14. And that you will see the Son of Man seated on the clouds of heaven next to this eternal God. Oh boy, did that ruffle the feathers of Caiaphas. Because not only was Jesus claiming to be the Messiah, the Christ, he was claiming to be more, the very Son of God, in divine form next to the Father. And he didn't even state it as a fact. It became as a threat. You're going to convict me. You're going to condemn me. And on the last day, you're going to find out that you were on the wrong side of divine history. Oh, that sent him into a dither. Watch what Caiaphas does. And the high priest tore his garments and said, "What further witness do we need? You have heard his blasphemy. What is your decision?" and they all condemned him as deserving death. Well, of course they did. The powerful high priest made a declaration of his guilt. What else are they going to do? Disagree with him and be condemned right along with Jesus? Nicodemus, John chapter 7, he knew the power of trying to stand up for Jesus in the court of public opinion with the high priest. And so the thugs, even though they're legal guards, they're thugs, are released to brutalize Jesus. And some began to spit on him and to cover his face and to strike him, saying to him, "Prophesy." And the guards received him with blows. The guards, even though they think they're out of control. They're illegal. They're acting irresponsibly within the legal system of their day. Jesus was the only one ultimately in control. How can you stay in control when you're in crisis? There are 3 steps that Jesus took, 3 lessons for us to learn. Number 1, you make a decision in a garden, not in the courtroom of public opinion. You have to decide in prayer that your character will drive your actions and reactions. Number 2, you have to know clearly who you are and whose you are. When Jesus said that he is the Son of Man, the Messiah, he got that from the Father. And even though everyone else had a different opinion of him, he knew, because his relationship with the Father, who he was and whose he was. When you're clear about who you are and whose you are, you're less swayed by public opinion. Trust God to raise you up, not earthly powers for personal advantage. Often we will capitulate to someone we think can make our lives easier. But if you're trusting anyone but God to take a stand, to make you stand higher than you are in danger of violating the core of your identity. And that will make you out of control, not in control. But when you trust God and God alone, he will raise you up. I have never seen the righteous not ultimately vindicated by God the Father.